It snowed twice in early May, and we retreated to the cabin where I have plenty of books at hand. We wait for sunlight, and when it comes, the waters unite us. How many streams and creeks and rivers do you cross each month? How many lakes are nearby? Here in the Northwoods, we are united by the waters. This is our bond. The wind in the tall trees and the call of the loon, the gliding sweep of an eagle in an endless blue sky on a summer's day that we hope will never end. The sun glinting like diamonds on the lake in the late afternoon. The deer and other animals make their presence known, and the forest is very much alive. The sun propels us toward activity, and the cool touch of winter fades. Then the summer is before us, and we dive in, fast, unrelenting, brushing aside the icy water. It's time to shake off the winter lethargy. And here we go. So last night we heard the wolves howling out in the forest, and that reminded me of Jack London for some reason. So we watched the Blu-ray of The Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford. And what I have to say about this movie is that Harrison Ford is good in everything he does, and that the filmmakers accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, but it's loaded with CGI. The animals are not real, and that's the flaw in the movie. It's not necessarily a bad film. I just think it would have worked better with live action trained animals, the way they did in The Incredible Journey back in 1993, where they used live animals, and it was voiced by Michael J. Fox, Sally Field, and Don Amici. So take a look at that film, and you'll get a good idea on what a really good film would be, where they're using live action animation, and they take all of this technical stuff, and it's really part of the background. It didn't need to be part of the foreground. So with that said, The Call of the Wild and White Fang are two standards here. I think The Call of the Wild is one of the greatest books ever written. I know that there's a lot of people that agree with me on that. I also have To Build a Fire and Other Stories by Jack London. To Build a Fire is probably one of the most anthologized short stories in American literature. It's a real riveting classic, great stuff. I have multiple Jack London in my library. You just can't, go without him. This is an interesting edition. This is, I think this was Barnes & Noble or Borders when they were still around. The Yukon Writings of Jack London, kind of a leather type edition. It was inexpensive. And this also features The Call of the Wild and White Fang, as well as the short stories, many of the short stories. And I'd also would recommend, this did come from Barnes & Noble, which is a compilation of his novels, and it's Jack London Complete and Unabridged, 6 novels, which are The Call of the Wild, The Sea Wolf, which is one of the greatest sea adventure stories ever written, White Fang, Martin Eden, great novel, The Valley of the Moon, and The Star Rover are all included in this. I think there are, at Barnes & Noble, I think they still have editions of this with a different binding and cover. If you're looking for some of the novels of Jack London, you just can't go wrong with that. And then finally, I have this really old one that goes back. Look at how thick this old book is. There's a good picture of Jack London on the back. It's just short stories and novels in here. Just about everything you can imagine is loaded here. Pretty small print. I think you can see that. This was a running press edition. I don't know anything about that group. This goes back I don't know how many years. So when you hear the wolves howling in the forest at night here in the North Country, you're going to think about Jack London, The Call of the Wild. Stay well.